Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first podcast of hopefully a reoccurring show. I am CJG, and we're going to talk about the Lions' situation in this offseason, the free agency moves, and what we're looking forward to in the draft. Before we get into the Lions' position, now that free agency is over, position in the NFC North, that is, I just want to update all of you. I'm trying to switch to podcasts. I realize I'm way more into script writing and the actual sports talk than I am the video editing. So hopefully, drop a like if you like it, and hopefully this could become a reoccurring thing, and hopefully on, podcast platforms everywhere. So first, and probably what I'll title this episode, I want to talk about the Lions' position coming into the draft compared to the NFC North and just in general. Right, so of all the free agents that we picked up Trey Flowers, which is a great performer and will definitely replace Anza very well, adding a good edge to the D-line, and our D-line's looking like it could be very good. It was fourth against the run in the last 8 games last year, thanks to Patricia adding Snacks Harrison. So feeling pretty optimistic about that situation. But to go over the rest of the roster, I think the best way to go about it is to look at it before free agency. So before free agency, we had huge holes at tight end and edge rusher, and we had huge depth issues at wide receiver and in the secondary. So Trey Flowers obviously fixed the edge rusher hole. Still have a little bit of a depth issue there. Danny Amendola got a good stopgap fix to our depth issue at wide receiver. Justin Coleman and Landon Collins obviously fixed our depth issue in the secondary. So coming into the draft, we basically have a hole at tight end and basically the opportunity to add some talent anywhere else to upgrade the position and make it one of our strengths, whether that be edge or another position. So honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about what the Lions have done. We fixed a lot of the roster issues, unlike last year where I feel like we only basically fixed the run game. But just like last year, we got to compare to how the rest of the NFC North is doing. If you remember last year, we made some offseason moves, but the Vikings got Kirk Cousins, the Bears got Khalil Mack, and the Packers got a healthy Aaron Rodgers back. So basically everyone in the NFC North got massively better, and we got marginally better, and it showed in our season, which is why this offseason we gotta look at those other teams. But luckily, the other teams are not too scary. The Bears added like Clinton Dix, who we've seen before. The Vikings got quite a few good players, one of them being Amir Abdullah, who we've obviously seen before. The Packers did get a few decent guys finally entering free agency, but they released basically half their roster. Clay Matthews gone, Cobb gone. So, I think all the teams did improve, as they usually do. But so much less than last season. And the Lions have improved so much more than they did last offseason. So I think finally we're looking at a position where we've moved up more than every other team has moved up. Because last year we should have seen the 6-10 coming. I made a prediction for our ceiling, and it was 10-6, and that was optimistic. Luckily this year, I think a winning record is, at least so far it looks, a little bit more like a realistic rather than an optimistic prediction. How the draft goes and how our draft picks pan out are just so important to determining that. So we'll have to see. Luckily, the rest of the NFC North isn't really the Titans they used to be, and we're playing the NFC East this year. And again, those teams not particularly scary. As far as who I think the Lions should pick in the draft, and again, my opinion doesn't matter. So if you disagree, at the end of the day, only Bob Quinn opinions matter. But basically, I'm thinking I prefer edge, like the Giants have showed us with the 2 Super Bowls they won. You can never have too many good edge rushers. And I just feel like a late tight end or a stopgap tight end is all we really need. I'm not feeling too great about grabbing one. Even grabbing a position out of the blue, like an O-line position or something, I would be totally against. The only position I'm very strongly against drafting, and feel free to argue against me in the comments or something if you disagree, but I am very much against drafting a quarterback. I am very committed to Stafford, and I don't think there's a real large number of people that want to replace Stafford, but it's obviously a vocal minority, and I just disagree. All right, so that's it. I'm going to keep this nice and sweet. This is CJG on Lying to Yourself podcast. If you like it, drop a like. It'd be helpful to know if this is the direction I should go in. I might make it a more NFC North central so we get some Bears, Vikings, and Packers fans in here, as much as they're inferior to the rest of us. Drop some suggestions on topics or whatever you agree or disagree with in the podcast down in the comments. I'm always down for feedback, and I'll see you guys next time.